Hello, everybody. A room full of minarchists, maybe. Some anarchists in there and a couple of Democrats. Anyway, if you don't know me, I'm Gigi Bowman, and I run the organization Liberty Candidates. I started in 2009 because I felt there was a need to distinguish liberty, people running on a platform of liberty, which was not the same thing as, say, at the time the Tea Party had gotten big, and I realized the Tea Party wasn't Liberty Candidates, and Republicans weren't Liberty Candidates. We were somebody different because we understood what liberty meant, and it was mostly about issues. So we started this organization. I started it with actually Alexander Snicker, and Chris Cantwell was my first Liberty candidate. He'll be here later. And it was something that was important because we needed to put these people on a pedestal because they were different. And when we started, we didn't have a very big committee. It was only about 5 people. We didn't really even have an application. We went out looking for people that we felt were Liberty candidates. And it didn't take long before we started saying we need an application because we need to ask them how they, stand on the issues. And over time, we started to have this massive application, which if any of you are running for office, I hope you go to libertycandidates.com and fill it out. It's like taking an SAT, which I've heard that, my God, it takes an entire day to go through this whole thing and answer the questions. But over time, we got a committee, which right now I have a committee of 135 people, and they stand on all sides of liberty. I try to make sure that our committee is made up of people who are libertarian, who are, I have some anarchists, I have somebody there from every facet of liberty, but we're not actually judging, we're looking at where you stand on issues. And that's what this is all about. So when you come in there, we don't ask you what party you're in because we really don't care. And we've had Democrats as Liberty candidates, which, shocking. Wow, I think that we should use the Democrat Party and start running as libertarians. And we have gotten quite a few Republicans. Most of the people have been libertarians, and we've had Constitution Party people as well. But because it's about issues, that's what I feel that is the most important thing that we need to do now as we run for office. We need to stop talking about party, even the Libertarian Party. We seem to have a problem, the Libertarian Party, with getting people to sign a signature to get us on the ballot. And I don't know why it's come to that point. I think it's people think that libertarians are all about marijuana and the drug war, and they don't look past that. And this fall, I was helping one of my Liberty candidates collect signatures, and my husband and I would go out there and we'd say, "Hi, would you like to, sign this? We have a libertarian that wants to get on the ballot." And people would look at us, make a face, and say, "No, thank you." And when you got to collect 4,000 signatures, that really stinks. So we started going out there and saying, "We have a candidate that's running for office. He's an independent. Could you sign this?" And people were like, "Oh, great, we need independents. I'm sick of the right, I'm sick of the left." So it was like, wow, now we can't even say we're libertarians. We can't, say we're on the right or the left because we'll definitely exclude a whole side. Just say that you're running for office as an independent, which we are. And we have to start talking about issues. And that is what Liberty Candidates is about. It was actually in January when I decided to run for office, and it was something I was never, ever, ever going to do. I had to. I felt compelled to just say, this is it. It's the time for libertarians to run for office. Where I live on Long Island, every single Republican except for one voted for the SAFE Act, which is basically we call the New York gun ban. In the middle of the night, I woke up in the morning and the Second Amendment had been infringed upon. And these were conservative Republicans, and they just turned their backs on the Second Amendment. And now, because I said, that's it, the only people that care about the Constitution or the Second Amendment are libertarians at this point, I went out there, I decided to run, and I made one of these palm cards. And I guess what I want to talk to you about, all of you libertarians who are all eventually going to run for office, is that as libertarians we need to stop talking about marijuana, and we need to stop talking about the drug war. Of course, that's important to us, but people don't understand that that is not about us being a bunch of hippies that want to smoke pot. So I started talking about things like nullification. And, you know, thank God for Tom Woods and Michael Bolden. They've given us these tools that we know now that we can run for office and go in there and run for local and state office and repeal laws. Instead of going out there and, you know, making new ones, which is, I mean, sometimes I just am amazed. I think they lay in bed at night and go, what bill can I make now? And some of them are so absurd. Right now, I have to deal with in my state, this is like the third time that they have a bill out, that they want to force Gardasil vaccines on all children born after 1996 without parental consent. Wow. What is this? I'm a mother. In a million years would I never think of mandating a vaccine and making it so that you can't enter school if you don't have this. Like, we have to fight back on these things. So now I feel that the number one reason to run for office is to get in there and be a bridge between the government and the people and help the people to repeal these ridiculous laws. So I think we need to talk about that when we go out there. You know, people have learned about drones now and the NDAA, you know, thanks to Rand Paul and his big filibuster. The Patriot Act, FISA, these are issues that when you start talking to people, it affects them personally. So as libertarians, we get out there and we start talking about issues. My biggest issue is industrial hemp, okay? And most people think that that's marijuana and that I want to legalize marijuana. So what I do with another group that I run, which is called Save Long Island, is we show movies every month. And we show movies that will awaken people to all these issues. And because it's a nonpartisan organization, it doesn't have a party attached to it, we get people coming from all sides. And we've shown the movie Hemp for Victory. We've had people leave with their mouths open going, oh my God, I didn't know that hemp wasn't marijuana. I thought that everybody wanted to grow marijuana. I mean, when you start telling them that the Constitution was, you know, written on industrial hemp, that if we actually repealed these horrible, you know, laws across the nation and started growing this, we'd have jobs again, we'd have manufacturing, we'd have production, we could build houses, we could have fuel, we would have, you know, less reason to have wars for oil, which is, you know, what these people believe it's for. There are so many issues to talk about that are important, and we need, what it is we need to start educating our constituents. We need to start running for office locally and stop running for Congress, for goodness sakes. How many, you know, congressmen are libertarians? We need to start looking at our area and running. The most important is Assembly and State House, and the reason why is because of nullification, and you can use those jobs to repeal these laws. So I'm hoping that libertarians in 2013, everybody steps up to run for office and just, you know, the smallest thing, town council, you know, school board. I've got so many people now in Long Island running for school board. That is one of the most important things. They're the ones that spend all the, you know, school taxpayer money. Where I live, the taxes are so high, and I know New Jersey is just as bad as we are, and half of it's on school taxes. Yesterday I wrote an article about how much money is spent in New York State, because right now all the Assembly and Senate are in sessions and they're trying to negotiate the budget. And I started looking at the salaries that are paid to school administrators and police and firemen, and I was shocked. You can probably go on my Facebook page and read this article because I posted it all over the world. And it's really, this is the kind of stuff that once you start, as a libertarian, you start writing about what's really going on in your area and put it in your local Huntington patch where I am, or you have the patches all over the country. We don't have money, people aren't donating to us, so if we start writing these articles, we start posting it all over the social networking, we have LinkedIn, we have Facebook, there's countless ways to get your articles out there, but talk about issues, talk about things that really affect them. GMO food, as libertarians, we don't want to label. But there's also a law in many places where you cannot label non-GMO. We need freedom to label. I mean, I don't know if you know about the salmon right now. If you go catch a salmon, you know, in the lake and you go and try and sell it, you can't say this is non-GMO. It's illegal to do that. We need freedom to label. These are important issues. People are so scared about food right now and GMO food. And, you know, if we go into, as libertarians, we go out there and say, we want to label. I mean, all we're asking for is more government intervention. We don't want that. But we do want to have safe food for our families, and people want to talk about that issue. It's one of the topics. Recently I went to a Long Island Board of Realtors meeting, and it was a day when we had all of our sponsors come and sit down and have breakfast, and you know, none of these people are political, so I'm in a different world than I'm usually in. And I put my card down, and nobody was paying any attention to the fact that I was running for office because they could care less, you know. And then somebody started talking about that they had diabetes and what they were eating, and I started talking about, you know, GMO food, and all of a sudden they're looking at me and they're paying attention to me. I got on the subject of Big Pharma because to me there's a big connection between both. And wow, by the end of this conversation, they were taking my card, they were putting it in their pocket. They never asked me what I was running for, you know, what party I was running on, because they didn't care. They wanted to talk about these issues. So that's why I'm here today. I just want to tell all of you that we can win. I mean, we can start winning seats if we stop doing the same thing over and over again, and we're getting nowhere. But if we started winning seats in our state houses, they're doing it in New Hampshire. I love New Hampshire. I go there, I go to Pork Fest. They started the Free State Project. You think they're a bunch of anarchists? No, they're all running for office and they're winning. And we can do that in our states. And New Jersey and New York are two of the worst police states. They're the worst states for the economy. I mean, they need us. They do. They need people like us in there to start cutting these massive salaries. I mean, I'm reading that. In New York we have SUNY schools, okay, which are state schools, and the colleges, I'm sure you have them here. I'm reading that some of these SUNY professors are making $500,000 a year, working 9 months. This is taxpayer money. I mean, this is ridiculous. We have to cut it somewhere. Our police officers on Long Island are making $250,000 a year plus, you know, benefits. And they're sitting there talking about negotiating the budget, and they want to cut, you know, from. Look, I'm not for the welfare state, but if we're going to start cutting, let's leave those people alone for now and start cutting these ridiculous salaries that legislators. You know how many legislators on Long Island are making? I can't even tell you the amount of money they make to do nothing. I watch them on Facebook. They have ribbon cuttings and they march in parades and they go to breakfast and lunch. They're sitting down with the Agenda 21 people, another subject that you can talk about because that's happening everywhere. And they're making like $150,000 a year plus per diem. They're making money when they actually work. Come on. There are so many ways for us to reach the people, talk about this. We need to start finding, since we don't get money, I've learned that the social networking and writing articles and getting them published in local papers are the #1 way for us to get out there without it costing a penny. And when we finally do get some money, we can, you know, use it towards things like signs and palm cards and things like that. But we don't need to have the amount of money that right now that the Republicans and the Democrats have, because really I think people are disgusted, and if you start using issues, they're going to get up there and they're still going to talk about, you know, I'm going to raise your taxes, I'm going to lower your taxes. People know it's full of baloney now. They hear this every single election season, but none of them are talking about Big Pharma and GMO food, and just having those conversations is going to make a big difference to our party. All right, I'm a libertarian, and I want to win, and I want all of you to win. So I know we have no time. I'm just going to tell you that if you're running, go to libertycandidates.com and fill out the application. I have a book that was written by Liberty candidates. If you're scared, you need some inspiration, this book is fantastic. Today I'm going to sell it for $10, which I've never done before. I don't have that many copies with me, but On Amazon, it's $20, so you're getting a bargain. And this book is so inspirational. It'll tell you, how to do it without money, because these people did it without money. And some of them won their seats, like Glenn Bradley and Alex Nicker didn't win, but he even wrote something in here. Tom Woods wrote the introduction. It's a great book. I'll leave you guys now. I talk too much, I know, so bye.